Have you ever looked at some of your old code and wondered, why did I do that? Or how about an open source project and you can't figure out how to implement a view or a function? If there's no documentation or your memory's failing if it's your own code, you'll be wasting a lot of time trying to figure things out. That's why Apple includes Quick Help on its objects. In this video, we'll take a look at how you can access Quick Help on any Swift object, but also how you can create your own Quick Help documentation for your own code. Sarun, an iOS developer, has a weekly blog that I would recommend you follow. He created a nice piece a while back that inspired this video. If you learn better from reading blogs, I recommend you check it out. He covers a lot of content that I cover here, and I'll leave a link in the notes below. But if you want to learn via video, keep watching. Let's take a look at this project that has a couple of extra Swift files in it. You don't really need to follow along, but if you want to, I've created a link to the source code in the notes below. If I command click on this Swift UI view called an H stack, I can choose Show Quick Help. This presents a popover with some potentially useful information. The summary tells me what its purpose is. I can get even quicker access to this information by simply option clicking on the object. Also, if you have the utility panel open on the right, you can tap the Quick Help item, and then anytime you click on any object in your code, that same Quick Help content is presented there. I tend to use the option click method to view the popover. Here's Quick Help for each. Some items provide a lot more assistance. For example, let's option click on frame. Wow, there's a full discussion here with some sample code snippets, along with a description of what each of the parameters are, as well as the expected return. So, the question is, how can we add this type of help to our own classes, structs, functions, or methods? Let's option click on this struct CT rating. All we get here is the default, which is the declaration. I want to add more help so that if I share the custom SwiftUI ratings view, others will know how to use it. Just before the declaration, place the cursor, then choose Editor, Structure, Add Documentation. I always have a hard time remembering where this is, so I've memorized the keyboard shortcut, Option, Command, /. This adds a code snippet with 3 forward slashes, so you can replace the description placeholder with your own text. This is similar to a comment that you are probably familiar with 2 forward slashes. Except with this extra forward slash, it's telling Xcode that this is a Quick Help comment. If we option click now on CT rating, we see that that single summary line shows as the summary line in our Quick Help. Let's jump over to Content View and see what happens if I want to use this view. I'm first going to embed this text in a VStack. And notice when I start typing, I not only get the code completion, but the highlighted object also has a single line of help. This help is the summary line from the Quick Help for VStack. Now let's try to add the CT ratings view. When I start typing now, I see the code completion will highlight it, and we can see our summary line that we just added back in our file is being presented in this code completion. Option clicking here will also present the popover. If only there was more information about this. I'm going to delete this now and come back later after I've added some additional Quick Help. Just like in comments where you can add a comment every line with 2 forward slashes, you can surround your comments with a /* and */ to have a multi-line comment. Well, the same goes for Quick Help. You just add an extra asterisk at the beginning. So instead of 3 forward slashes, let's change this to /***, and then after the comment, just add */. Now we don't have to put 3 forward slashes at the beginning of every line. Anything in the comment block will be treated as Quick Help. So let's add a second line. When we check our Quick Help, I don't get what I expect. The text just butts up against the first line. That's the nature of the markup language that's used for Quick Help. In order to get a new line, you need to leave a blank line, except in certain cases that I'll get to. So let's leave a blank line in between and see what we get. This time the summary is still that single line, and it always will be. And the second line is a new section called Discussion. It's here in this section that we'll be providing additional help for our users. Before we do that, however, we need to find out what we can put in there and how to format it. The text to be entered must be markup. I plan to do a full video on markup using my markup editor of choice, Typora, but Xcode only allows you to use a small subset of markup, and what you can use in a playground versus a quick help file itself varies. First, let's refer to the Apple's own markup formatting reference. I'll leave a link in the notes below. At this link, we see a table that provides a table of markup delimiters that are supported in playgrounds and quick help. Some of the commands supported in quick help here are also only supported if you're providing markup for a function or a method, and this will become clearer soon. I also found that some of these delimiters seem to have no impact at all, even though they're supposed to, so your mileage may vary. What I want to do now is to go through a few of these that will be of immediate use to you. All of these ones following now will appear in the discussion section. To keep you focused and keeping the quick help popover section within view, I'll take them one at a time and then just type over the previous ones as I introduce a new markup delimiter. First up is italics and bold text. If in the text you want italics, surround the word with an asterisk. If you want bold, surround it with 2 asterisks. Enumerated lists are numbered lists. And to create one, just start typing using a number and a period, and then followed by a space and your text. And then for subsequent lines, another number, a period, space, and text. What you may not know or realize is that it's really only the first number that counts. The numbers will always be sequential after that. I can change the numbers of the list items, but the display will always be sequential following the first number. If you don't want to use a numbered or enumerated list, you can use an unordered or bulleted list. To create a bulleted list, just start your line with a hyphen and then a space. You can use an asterisk instead. And if you tab in after a previous bullet, you can create a nested or indented one. You can separate your help by adding underlines. You can do this by typing 3 hyphens. Alternatively, you can use 4 asterisks. Code voice renders a span of text in the font used for displaying code. If you surround text with back quotes, it will use a monospaced font. It may be difficult to discern, but the font is definitely different. Oftentimes you want to provide some sample code, and you can generate a code block just by surrounding your code with 4 back quotes. Anything entered in between there will be clearly presented in the quick help, and the code will be syntax highlighted or color coded. Another way to show a code block is to start each line of code block indented by at least 4 spaces or 1 tab from the indent level for the current delimiter. I actually prefer the back quote syntax myself. If for any reason you want to use one of the markup characters within your help, you have to escape the character. And you do this by preceding the character with a backslash. For example, here's an example of escaping the asterisk that is used for creating a bulleted line. In the final section I want to cover are markup keywords that create sections. Sections will always create a new line, and subsequent text will follow the section name. Here are a number of these keywords that you can check the documentation out for that I've linked to in the notes below. To use any of these keywords, you start with a hyphen and end with a colon. For example, attention. It creates a bold heading and a line break with all the text following starting on the next line. If you happen to leave an empty line after the keyword, nothing will be displayed, not even the header. Here are some examples I'll paste in of some other keywords. Some things to note is that the keyword is always in bold and leaves padding above it to separate it from a previous markup line. Subsequent text always follows immediately with no padding. So, based on this quick overview of markup in Xcode, I used that information and created some quick help for my CT rating view. Let me paste it in here and we'll see how we can use this help. Back in Content View, let me bring up the canvas. Let's start to add CT rating back to our VStack as we did before. I'll stop and option click to see the quick help. I see I need a state variable, so I can just copy and paste from here. Option clicking again, I see that the default implementation wants me to specify a maximum rating and use my state variable for the current rating. So let's just do that. When I resume our canvas, we see that it's working. Well, let's do some customization. The quick help will assist me here. I see I have options to make the view wider, a different color, and use a different symbol. I'll just choose the example text and see what that looks like. Red hearts. It's pretty obvious for me now how I can modify it thanks to the quick help. And SwiftUI Live Preview is pretty awesome as well. Now, I'm not particularly pleased with how the different properties are laid out in the quick help that I just did, but that's the best I could do. Perhaps you can come up with a different presentation using the markup available. Let's take a look at another example here. Consider this services file, and there is a function that validates credentials. It returns true if no errors and throws a credential error if validation fails. Option clicking shows us the parameter names, and also there's no summary or description. When I do option command / it inserts my template for the description, and this time adds placeholders for both parameters. And this uses the single line documentation, 3 / for each line instead of the block that we used last time. But that's okay. I can edit this now to reflect the purpose of this function and the parameters. Now, presenting the quick help, I see my summary, and the parameters are displaying more helpful information. If I want some discussion text, I need to leave a blank line between the description and parameter and add an additional line. Again, I'm using the triple / with each line instead of the block delimiters. This now displays the summary and the discussion along with the parameters. What's missing, however, is what throws and what returns. Fortunately, you may recall that these are two of the key markdown words that we can use, just like we used attention in the previous example. All we need to do is add -throws: and then a -returns: with some text, making sure that they are at the same level of indent as the -parameters keyword. Option clicking on the function now provides us with full information. I encourage you to review the Apple documentation using the link provided and start to add documentation to your code. This will be especially helpful if you're working with other developers on your code or if you're providing open source libraries using Swift Package Manager. In fact, this CT rating struct was used in my video on how to create a Swift package. I'll leave a link in the notes below to this video. What I didn't do in that video is add documentation. Perhaps I should update it now with documentation. What do you think?
I hope you found this video useful. If so, please give it a thumbs up below and subscribe to my channel. If I get enough positive feedback, I'll continue to build out similar tutorials for Swift developers who have left the starting gate but still need to add to their toolbox. You can check out my YouTube channel to see what other videos I've created. Visit my website to see my iOS app portfolio of apps currently on the App Store. And check out my GitHub repository to see what else I'm up to. Thanks for watching. I'm most active on Twitter, so follow me there for notifications of other Swift-related things that I'm up to.